In the dense, emerald heart of the jungle, where shafts of golden sunlight pierced through a cathedral of towering trees and the air vibrated with the calls of unseen creatures, a story of extraordinary courage began to unfold, a tale that would be whispered by tribes and sung by wandering storytellers for generations, for it was not just a battle of tooth and claw, but a confrontation between bravery and despair, life and death, and the bond between humans and the majestic creatures of the wild. The story began one morning when a group of villagers led by a seasoned tracker named Arjun ventured deep into the jungle after hearing cries of distress echoing through the stillness of dawn. Cries unlike anything they had ever heard before, cries that trembled with both pain and fear, and as they moved with careful steps through the undergrowth, accompanied by Ravi, a strong but compassionate young man, and Meera, a determined healer who believed every living being deserved protection, they came upon a sight that froze their hearts. For before them in a clearing lay a mother elephant of enormous size, her gray skin streaked with sweat and dust, her massive body thrashing weakly against the coils of a monstrous serpent, a snake of mythic proportions, larger than any python or anaconda known to science, its scales glistening like black steel in the filtered light, its eyes glowing with a cold, predatory fire, and its muscles tightening with relentless force as it sought to crush the life out of the mother elephant while her calf cried helplessly nearby, trunk raised in confusion and terror, and in that moment the villagers knew they could not turn away, for the jungle might be ruled by nature's merciless laws, but humanity's heart could never abandon a suffering soul, not while courage still breathed in their chests. Arjun immediately barked orders, his voice firm though his eyes betrayed the storm raging within, and Ravi grabbed a spear while others gathered whatever weapons they had, from axes meant for woodcutting to torches hastily lit, while Meera rushed to the calf to keep it calm, whispering soothing words though she herself trembled with dread, for the snake was no ordinary predator, it was a legend made flesh, whispered of in hushed tones by elders, a serpent that had lived for centuries, growing stronger and larger with every beast it devoured, a creature said to be the guardian of the hidden lake deep within the jungle, a lake of mystical powers, and now it had chosen the elephant as its next victim. The ground seemed to shake with the mother elephant's desperate struggle, each thunderous movement scattering leaves and sending birds shrieking into the sky, yet the snake's grip only tightened, its coils rippling like rivers of muscle, and Arjun knew that hesitation meant death, so with a cry he launched the first attack, thrusting his spear into the serpent's side, the weapon sinking deep but not deep enough to halt the beast, and with a horrifying hiss that echoed like a storm through the trees, the snake whipped its massive head around, jaws opening to reveal fangs long enough to pierce armor, striking at Arjun with deadly speed, but Ravi leapt forward, shoving Arjun out of the way just in time, the fangs sinking instead into the trunk of a nearby tree, splintering it like dry wood, and as the serpent struggled to pull free, the villagers swarmed, hacking at its scales with axes, jabbing with spears, their cries of fear mingling with roars of determination, but the snake's strength was beyond imagination, and with a violent thrash it sent 3 men flying across the clearing, their bodies crashing into the undergrowth, groaning in pain. The battle raged on, and the mother elephant's eyes, once wild with panic, now seemed to plead with the humans, a silent call for help that gave them renewed strength, and Ravi, his muscles straining, climbed onto the serpent's back, plunging his spear again and again, while Arjun directed others to distract the beast by targeting its head, but the serpent's hide was so thick that many strikes glanced off harmlessly, and despair threatened to seep into their hearts, yet Meera, standing with the calf, raised her voice in a fierce cry, shouting that they could not give up, that the jungle itself was watching, that their courage would decide whether life or death reigned this day, and those words ignited a fire in every soul present, pushing them beyond fear. As the fight wore on, the serpent began to tire, its movements slowing as wounds bled across its body, yet with one last surge of strength it coiled tighter around the mother elephant, whose legs buckled beneath the crushing pressure, her cry piercing the heavens like a broken trumpet, and Ravi knew in his heart that sacrifice might be the only path to victory, so with reckless bravery he shouted for the others to strike together, then leapt from the serpent's back toward its head, grabbing a torch in midair, and with a roar he plunged the flames into the serpent's eye, a blinding strike that sent the beast into a frenzy of agony, its body convulsing and loosening its coils, giving Arjun the opening he needed to drive his spear with all his strength into the serpent's throat, a strike that finally pierced deep into its vulnerable flesh, unleashing a torrent of dark blood that drenched the ground, and with a final earth-shaking thrash the serpent collapsed, its massive body shuddering before lying still, defeated at last, as silence fell upon the clearing except for the labored breaths of the mother elephant, who now slowly regained her strength and rose to her feet, trunk reaching down to touch Ravi gently, as if blessing him for his courage, while the calf rushed to its mother, circling her joyfully. Tears filled the villagers' eyes as they realized what they had accomplished, for they had faced a legend and survived, not for glory, but for compassion, for the bond that tied all living beings together, and as they tended to their wounded, Arjun declared that the tale of this battle must never be forgotten, that it should be told as proof that even the most terrifying darkness can be overcome when hearts stand united. In the days that followed, the jungle seemed to honor their courage, the birds singing brighter, the river flowing clearer, and though the scars of battle remained, both on flesh and in memory, the people carried them with pride, knowing they had saved not just a mother and her calf, but the very spirit of the wild itself, proving that bravery was not the absence of fear, but the triumph of compassion over despair. And so the story of the heroes who faced the giant snake and saved the mother elephant lived on, a tale to inspire every soul who heard it, a reminder that in the face of overwhelming odds, the human spirit, when fueled by love and courage, can achieve miracles beyond imagination.